Welcome to Verse by Verse, Episode 10, Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through 26, known as the Aaronic benediction. After the tabernacle had been built, and just before Israel began its 40 years through the wilderness, God gives to Aaron a formula that he was to use when he lifted up his hands toward the people. Divine protection and assurance. God does not frown upon their sins. His face is filled with beams of forgiveness. God's favor lights up his gaze upon them. We have the integration of all contrary and disturbing elements of life into a harmonious oneness. It's called the priestly blessing, or the Aaronic benediction, named after Moses' older brother, Aaron. It's the most ancient and enduring liturgical formula in religious history. It has a poetic structure. Each of the three lines begin with Yahweh. Each phrase is progressively longer. And it concludes with the ultimate blessing of peace, Shalom. It's part of God's instructions to Moses regarding how Aaron and his sons after him should bless the Israelites. This is well over 3,000 years old. The bless you and keep you part speaks to God's active guardianship. Make his face shine upon you as God's approving presence. Be gracious to you emphasizes unmerited favor. To lift up his countenance upon you conveys personal attention. And finally, give you his shalom, wholeness, completeness, and well-being. The priest stands before the congregation. Let's see if I can do this. With his outstretched hands, and his fingers are in a position that looks like one of the letters in the Hebrew alphabet. The Sin, that's how you pronounce the letter, symbolizing a Shaddai, or God is the Almighty. The hand gesture inspired Leonard Nimoy, who grew up as an Orthodox Jew, to create the Vulcan salute in Star Trek. Christians incorporated this blessing into their worship practices from the earliest days of the church. This blessing has permeated the broader culture. There are religious artifacts and jewelry and household items, musical compositions. Every year there are mass gatherings at the Western Wall in Jerusalem. The thousands of worshipers gathered for Passover and the Feast of Booths, or Succoth. Their gathering concludes with these words of divine protection, grace, and peace, universal human desires. The benediction moves from material protection to divine presence to inner peace, following a pattern that reflects deep human needs in ascending order. Numbers 6, 24 through 26 stands as one of the most enduring religious texts in human history. Its poetic structure and theological depth and universal themes speak to our situation as contemporarily as 3,400 years ago. Many Hebrew words are like pictures. They're worth 1,000 words. It would take an entire paragraph in English to flesh out the meaning contained in many, many words in Hebrew. Think of the English words sublime or nostalgia. You would want to use a whole paragraph to explain them. If your language was filled with hundreds of such words, as you listen to a story or a verse told over and over again, every time you hear it, it's as if for the first time. It's invested with so much meaning. We have a few of those words in the Aaronic benediction. As we go through it and do a little exegesis, pulling out of each word as much as we can, we'll see some of that. Here we go. The Lord bless you and keep you. The word bless means to kneel, to go down on your knees. It means to be adored, even saluted. But most interestingly, it means to curse. The Lord bless you? It's almost as if the roles are reversed. Why is God going down on his knees? Why is he saluting us? Why is he cursing us? The Lord bless you and keep you. To keep is to guard, observe, to watch over or protect, treasuring you up in his memory, even celebrating you. The Lord bless you and keep you is an image of God in a humble position, cursing us, treasuring us in his memory, celebrating us. In this very first verse of the Aaronic benediction, God himself is going to mark us in some way. Let's see where it goes. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord is going to make his face light up and become light itself. God will turn his face towards us. It's hard to understand this in English, but one and the same word in Hebrew can mean to turn your face towards someone and to turn your face away. Is he looking at us or is he looking away from us? Is he showing us his face or his backside? The Lord lift up his countenance upon us and be gracious unto us. God is showing us his favor and mercy. He's bending down, stooping toward us. God is setting up camp among us. The Lord is lifting up his taking away, his bearing on himself. God violently lays his hands upon us as he shows us his peace. How can the word violent and the word shalom be found in the same clause? Shalom is completeness, soundness, welfare, safety. Shalom is to be in a covenant of peace with God. The word violence shouldn't be anywhere near that word. If we are being made whole and complete, if we are being brought to our end, if we're on the last page of the Agatha Christie novel, how in the world does the word violence make its way into the last page? Another murder at the end of the mystery? God is humbled, on his knees. We are being cursed / adored. We are being marked by God. His face is both looking at us and looking away, and God claims he is showing us his peace in a violent, physical laying on of hands. There's a lot more to this benediction than meets the eye. How do you make sense of it all? If there are some words that are worth 1,000 words, then I could use one right now to sum up these beautiful, poetic, and deeply theological words. Part of me wants to say take and eat, in keeping with the theme of this series. However, that would be a stretch too far. There must be one simple word that starts us on the journey toward Holy Communion and captures all the difficult elements found right here. Humility, cursing, blessing, God's presence and his absence, a violent peace. Sooner or later, something will cross my mind. In Jesus' name.